I'm looking at a number here that, frankly, shouldn't exist in oncology, 100%.
Yeah, that is the kind of number that usually makes you throw the paper in the trash,
Right.
or at least squint very, very hard at the methodology.
In the world of medical research, nothing is ever 100%. But we're doing this deep dive today specifically because we have to talk about this outlier.
Hmm.
We are looking at a clinical study on breast cancer recurrence that came out recently, October 2025. And the headline statistic is, well, it's effectively unheard of.
It is.
At the 3-year mark, 100% of the patients in the combination therapy group had 0 cancer recurrence.
It is an extraordinary claim, and I want to set the stage right now for everyone listening. When I see 100%, my reflex isn't excitement, it's extreme skepticism.
You start looking for the catch.
I start hunting for the error. And to be clear, there are flaws here, significant ones, which we are absolutely going to tear apart later. But the biological mechanism, the why behind it,
Okay.
that is incredibly compelling.
And that's the hook for me. This wasn't some billion-dollar personalized gene therapy they cook up in a lab in Switzerland.
No.
We are talking about 2 old, cheap, generic drugs, stuff you could, pick up at a CVS.
Repurposed drugs.
Right.
It's a huge area of interest right now because we already know their safety profiles.
So to guide us through this, we're digging into a detailed analysis by Dr. Jay Chaplin. He runs the channel Elevating Cancer Treatment.
And I think it's important to note, he's not an MD. He's a PhD, a drug designer.
Which is a different perspective.
It's actually perfect for this topic. MDs are trained to look at protocols, at statistics, at survival rates.
Yeah.
Dr. Chaplin, he looks at molecular engineering.
He's looking at the machine itself.
He's looking at how the drug molecule physically jams the gears of the cancer cell.
So our mission today is to walk a tightrope. We need to unpack the biology of why this works because it is fascinating. It's like a tactical siege on a cell.
It is.
But we also have to critically examine why this study might just be statistical noise and why trying this could be actually dangerous for certain patients.
Precisely. Validate the biology, but interrogate the data.
Let's start with the context. This wasn't a trial for everyone with breast cancer, so who are they actually testing?
This is maybe the most crucial distinction to make right off the bat. This phase 2 trial wasn't trying to shrink a big active tumor that you can see on a CT scan.
Okay.
This is what we call an adjuvant setting. These patients had finished their primary treatment, surgery done, chemo done. Clinically, they were cancer-free.
But we know cancer-free can be a temporary state.
Right. They were specifically looking at patients where they found microscopic metastases in the bone marrow.
Okay, define that for us. Is that a tumor?
No. Think of them as sleeper cells. Single cancer cells that have escaped the breast, traveled through the blood, and are now just hiding in the bone marrow. Dormant.
So they're the seeds.
They are the seeds. They aren't growing yet, but if they wake up, that's when you get metastatic disease. That's the lethal phase.
So the goal isn't treatment, it's prevention. It's keeping the sleeper cells asleep.
Or better yet, killing them before they ever wake up. And the tool they used was this specific 2-drug cocktail.
Okay, so let's meet the players.
First up, everolimus.
Which is a known quantity, right?
Oh yeah, it's been approved for cancer since 2009. It's an MTOR inhibitor. We'll get to what that means in a minute.
And the second player is even older. Hydroxychloroquine.
The malaria drug.
I think everyone knows that name now.
Indeed, it's been around since 1955. Malaria, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. So you've got a drug from 2009 and a drug from the mid-50s.
And Dr. Chaplin's analysis was very specific about the recipe they used, the dosing, because that always matters.
They did not hold back. The regimen was hydroxychloroquine at 600 milligrams twice a day, morning and evening.
Wow, that's a lot.
And then everolimus at 10 milligrams once a day.
And just to hammer that result home one more time.
At 3 years out, 0% of the patients on that combination had a recurrence of breast cancer. 0.
And did the drugs work on their own?
A little. If you took one or the other, you saw some risk reduction. But the combination was statistically superior. It points to a really powerful synergy.
Okay, let's get into that synergy. This is the part I really want to understand. Why these two? Why do they lock together so perfectly? What is happening inside that cell?
Well, to understand the cure, you have to understand the cancer cell's motivation. And Dr. Chaplin uses this great analogy of MTOR being Grand Central Station.
MTOR.
Exactly. Mammalian target of rapamycin. It is the central hub for the cell. Think of it as the general contractor of a building site. Every signal about growth, metabolism, nutrients, protein production, It all funnels through mTOR.
And cancer cells are just obsessed with growth.
They have an always-on metabolism. They're screaming for resources to divide. So everolimus, that's drug number 1. It's an mTOR inhibitor.
It shuts down Grand Central Station.
It cuts the power. It blocks the growth signals. It tells the cell, stop growing, stop metabolizing.
Which sounds like it should be enough. You cut the food supply, the army should starve.
In a perfect world, yes. But cancer is evolutionary. It's so adaptive. If you just use everolimus, the cancer cell realizes its main growth pathway is blocked. It panics.
He finds a workaround.
It needs a new way to survive the starvation. It goes into a kind of bunker mode. Specifically, it activates a process called autophagy.
Self-eating.
The literal translation, it is a recycling process. When a cell is starving, because we've blocked mTOR, it starts to cannibalize itself. It breaks down its own organelles and proteins to get the raw materials it needs to stay alive.
That is incredible. It eats its own furniture to keep the furnace running.
That's a perfect way to put it. The cancer cell shrinks, it goes dormant, but it stays alive. It waits out the siege, and eventually it finds a way around the mTOR block and rebounds.
So that's how resistance develops.
This is why resistance to everolimus alone develops so quickly. It's not enough to just block the growth. You have to block the survival plan too.
So everolimus locks the front door, but the cancer cell sneaks out the back to dumpster dive.
Correct. And that brings us to the second drug, hydroxychloroquine.
The malaria drug, what's its role here?
At a cellular level, hydroxychloroquine is a lysosomal inhibitor.
The lysosomes meet.
The stomach of the cell. The lysosome is the machinery where all that digestion and recycling, the self-eating actually happens. It's the engine of autophagy.
I see the pincer movement now.
Hydroxychloroquine basically breaks the stomach. It raises the pH in the lysosome and stops it from working. It blocks the process of autophagy.
So everolimus starves the cell by blocking the growth signals.
And when the cell tries to eat itself to survive, hydroxychloroquine steps in and says, nope, you can't do that either.
You cut off the food supply and the emergency rations.
Exactly. You are putting the cancer cell in a metabolic vice. It can't grow and it can't recycle to survive. It has no biological choice but to die. Apoptosis.
And this mechanism, this doesn't sound specific to breast cancer at all. I mean, mTOR and autophagy are fundamental to how all cells work.
That is the big hypothesis.
Yeah.
Because these are such foundational mechanisms, it's like the operating system of the cell. This logic should, in theory, apply to most, if not all, solid tumor types.
That is a huge statement. Do we have any proof of that outside this one study?
We have signals. The source highlights a previous clinical trial for renal cell carcinoma, so kidney cancer.
Was that another 100% success situation?
No, but the context was much, much harder. In the kidney cancer trial, these were patients with advanced disease. They'd already failed multiple standard treatments.
So they weren't trying to prevent recurrence. They were trying to stop active aggressive tumors.
Exactly.
And what happened?
They used the same drug combo, just the 2 drugs, and got a 45% progression-free survival rate.
So the cancer stopped growing for nearly half the patients.
In a population that had basically run out of all other options. That is a really significant signal. So we have data in kidney cancer controlling active tumors, and now this data in breast cancer preventing recurrence.
The biological logic seems to hold up.
It does?
Okay. The biology is elegant. The logic is sound. But let's go back to the beginning. You said 100% makes you skeptical. We have to play devil's advocate. What is wrong with this study? Why isn't this on the front page of every newspaper?
We have to look at the quality of the data. And Dr. Chaplin was very honest about the severe limitations here. The biggest one, there was no control group.
No control group.
In the breast cancer trial, everyone in that arm got the drugs.
So wait, if 100% of them had no recurrence, couldn't you argue that maybe none of them were going to have a recurrence anyway?
That is the problem. Exactly. We don't know the baseline. Maybe without the drugs, the recurrence rate in this group would have been 20%, maybe 5%, maybe even 0%, though that's highly unlikely. But without a comparator group, we are flying blind.
We can't actually quantify how much better this is?
We can't. That seems like a massive oversight in study design, but it's common in phase 2 trials where the main goal is often just safety and dosing. Efficacy is a secondary observation.
So that 100% number, it's a suggestion, not proof.
A very strong suggestion, but not definitive proof.
And what about the sample size? How many people were in this?
Tiny. The combination group in the breast cancer study had only 21 patients.
21, that's it.
That is statistically fragile. If you have 21 people and none of them get sick, is it a miracle cure or is it just a lucky roll of the dice? We call this being underpowered. It is very easy to get a false positive with numbers that small.
Okay, so we have a brilliant biological theory backed by a study that is too small and lacks a control group to be scientifically proven.
Correct. We are in the gray zone. It's promising science. It's not proven protocol.
Okay, but here's the question I know you're asking at home. These are old drugs. They're cheap. They're available. If I'm a patient and I'm worried about my cancer coming back, why not just try it? What's the harm?
And this is where we have to stop the car and put up the warning flares. Because there is harm. Dr. Chaplin emphasizes this so heavily. This isn't just about nausea. This is about your immune system.
What do you mean?
We have to remember what these drugs actually do. Everolimus isn't just a cancer drug. It was originally developed to prevent organ transplant rejection.
Oh, right. It shuts down the immune system so your body doesn't attack a new kidney.
Exactly. And the dose used in this cancer trial, it is 10 milligrams daily. That is effectively 5 times higher than what they give transplant patients.
5 times higher. So you are massively suppressing the immune system.
Heavily. And hydroxychloroquine. It also dampens the immune response. That's why it works for autoimmune diseases like lupus. So when you combine them,
You're creating a state of profound immunosuppression. You're open to infections.
viral infections, bacterial,
Yeah.
everything, hygiene becomes critical. But the bigger, more immediate danger is the interaction with other cancer treatments. This is the absolute contraindication.
Okay, who cannot take this?
You cannot, under any circumstances, combine this regimen with immunotherapy.
We're talking about checkpoint inhibitors, Keytruda, Opdivo, that kind of thing.
Exactly. The blockbuster drugs of the last decade. The whole mechanism of immunotherapy is to boost the immune system. They take the brakes off your T cells so they can go attack the cancer.
And this everolimus combo slams the brakes on.
Hard. They are functionally opposites. If you are on Opdivo and you take these drugs, you are effectively neutralizing your own life-saving treatment. You're canceling it out.
That is terrifying because I can see a patient thinking, I want to throw everything at this, and they take their immunotherapy and add these pills on the side.
And in doing so, they would be sabotaging their own care. The source was very explicit. This also applies to natural immune boosters. Things like hyperthermia, hot tubs, saunas.
You can't push the gas and the brake at the same time.
You'll strip the gears. You have to pick a lane. This is a metabolic suppression strategy, not immune activation.
Are there other physical costs? A 3-year regimen is a long time.
The other major concern that was mentioned is the eyes, macular degeneration.
Right, I have heard this about hydroxychloroquine.
It can be toxic to the retina over the long term. If a patient already has issues with their eyes, taking high-dose hydroxychloroquine for 3 years could cause permanent vision damage.
So you're trading one risk for another.
Always. There is no free lunch in oncology. You have to monitor the eyes very closely.
So let's synthesize this. Who is this actually for? Based on the analysis, what's the profile of the patient who might actually benefit?
It seems to be most promising for patients in that adjuvant window. They've finished primary treatment surgery, radiation, chemo, and crucially, they are not on immunotherapy.
But they have a high risk of recurrence.
Yes, may be confirmed by those microscopic markers. And they are willing to accept the risks of immunosuppression to potentially starve out those sleeper cells.
You know, what strikes me about this whole deep dive is this tension in the system that Dr. Chaplin highlighted. We have a treatment that is biologically sound. The drugs are available right now at any pharmacy.
But because they are generic and cheap, we're talking pennies per pill, there is no financial incentive for a big pharmaceutical company to run the massive 5,000 patient trial we need to prove it works.
You can't patent a drug from 1955. No patent, no profit, no trial.
So we are left with these small, underpowered studies. And the patient is left in this really difficult gap. Do you wait 10 years for definitive proof that might never come? Or do you act on promising logic and imperfect data?
That is a heavy question, and I think that's why these conversations matter, so you can actually understand the mechanism and make that choice with your eyes open.
Which brings us to the disclaimer. This is education. This is analysis. This is not a prescription.
Please do not go to an online pharmacy and start brewing your own cocktail based on what we said today.
If this science resonates with you, print out the papers. Take this analysis to your oncologist. Ask them, given my specific tumor, does this mechanism make sense? And does it conflict with my current meds? You need a partner in this.
Absolutely. Talk to your team. Well, that wraps up our look at the October 2025 breast cancer recurrence study. It's a fascinating glimpse into how old dogs can learn new tricks.
And a reminder that sometimes the most powerful tools are already sitting on the shelf, just waiting for us to figure out how to use them together.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next deep dive.